Welcome to today's Ukraine war update for June 17, 2026. The pressure on Moscow shifted today from the battlefield to the bargaining table. At the G7 summit in Evian, France, the world's wealthiest democracies, with President Trump in the room, agreed to tighten the screws on Russia's war economy, going after the one sector that pays for the Kremlin's missiles, oil and gas. Trump, who had spent months keeping his distance from Ukraine, said it plainly: "We will strengthen our sanctions, including those on the oil and gas sectors." Britain went further, announcing fresh penalties on the shadow fleet of tankers Russia uses to dodge the oil price cap. The opening came from an unlikely place: a U.S. brokered deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which steadied global oil prices enough to squeeze Russian crude without spiking petrol costs back home. For President Zelensky, it was the strongest day of diplomacy in months. Commitments on more air defense missiles, licenses to build the interceptors Ukraine is running short of, and a winter support package. After weeks of Russian strikes on cathedrals and power plants, the G7's message to Moscow was blunt: your oil money is now a target. 1,260 Russian troops killed in a day. The standout is again the air war. More than 2,000 drones destroyed in 24 hours, pushing the war's total past 355,000. 51 artillery systems were lost as well, the grinding daily attrition that no sanctions package can replace. Russia is burning through men and machines faster than it can build them, and now the money behind both is in the crosshairs. The night over Ukraine was lighter than the mass barrages of recent weeks, but it was not quiet. Russia launched 119 drones. Ukrainian air defense brought down 97 of them, with strikes recorded at 11 locations. The heaviest blow fell on Zaporizhzhia, where 7 people were wounded and 9 residential buildings were damaged. In Hlukhiv, in the Sumy region near the border, a city council building and a school were hit. These are not the headline-grabbing attacks that fill the front pages. They are the steady, nightly erosion of ordinary life that Ukrainians have learned to live under. On the ground, 237 clashes were recorded along the front. The hottest sectors remain familiar names: Huliaipole, Pokrovsk, and Koshchentinivka, where Russia is throwing wave after wave of assaults at Ukrainian positions. But the line is holding. No significant Russian gains were reported. That is the paradox the G7 sanctions are meant to exploit. Russia cannot break through on the battlefield, and now its ability to pay for the war is under direct attack. The Kremlin is spending everything and getting less and less in return. That wraps up today's update. If you found this useful, press the like button and subscribe in order to support this channel. Stay informed, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.